Women work. Women have been working for a long time. We have our own incomes, and women can provide their own life and survive and thrive. And so we're at a point in our lives right now where women can either opt into relationships or opt out of relationships, where they don't actually need men for survival's sake, but a companion, a partner would be fine. And so men have got to come into 2025 where we're not just simply talking about needing a man for survival's sake. Now, that is leading me to this post from Demetria L. Lucas and this post that she made over on Facebook. She says, I didn't know what the 666 rule till I dated this guy who didn't meet it. He told me that's what all women want. Do they? Men have a tendency to tell us women what all women want. And we're like, we're women. Do you think that we get some input? No. Men tell men what women want, and then the men tell us women what women want. It's pretty wild out there. He had been overweight, and I met him after he lost 80 pounds. He didn't have cut up abs and gymmed daily working on them. I was attracted to him as is, no notes. He was 5'9" with pretty teeth and a dimple. He kept telling me he was 5'9". I realized he was insecure about not being 6 feet tall. I'm 5'2". I don't really wear heels unless absolutely necessary. Day to day, he towered over me and was still taller when I wore a heel. I was focused on his face, stunning symmetry. I liked looking at him. 6 feet is nice. I have exes that were over 6 feet tall. Other than reaching for high-ish and being intimidating to other men, it doesn't really change much. And that's another thing. It's like when you're really short, I'm really short. I really have never had a 6 feet tall rule. He did make six figures. He paid for everything because he wanted to. He said that flatly. He also found a way to work six figures into every single conversation until he realized I made more than him. I never said that. He told me I didn't have to. Apparently, my life is just one giant tale. Me? What? I live with my parents. Him. You told me you were trying to figure out your life. Me. Because I am. Him. You can't figure out which country you want to live in. It's not because you can't afford to move out. Me? What difference does it make? It mattered to him. When we met, he thought I needed him. So I stopped myself from saying, huh? We kept dating. A lot of museum wandering in sweatpants and cashmere and fur, and really good food at hole-in-the-wall spaces, and had good conversation. This is my idea of a perfect date. We put our grills in the same case when the food came. Our friction came to a head when my friend asked me last minute to gallivant away with her to some island, crash a wedding weekend, not the wedding she would attend, not me, and I didn't go. He asked why. I said I didn't have time. He noticed my reason wasn't I couldn't afford it. He called it a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Me. Turks and Caicos? He got upset. I was confused. So he broke it down. He had one card out of the 3 sixes that worked in his favor, and the card he had to play was one that I wasn't impressed with. He gave me his life trajectory, the short version. Everything he has, he got it out the mud. He worked really hard for the life he has, and he's happy with his life as is, and he's close to hitting his goal. His point of view, if he was dating someone who made less, did less, they would be impressed with him. I never will be. Respect? Sure. Appreciate? Sure. Be impressed? Nope. He deduced DC was my resting place or launching pad. As soon as I figure out what I want to do next, I'm out. My floor is his ceiling. He needs someone who needs him, who will be impressed with him in the 6 card he has to play. Him. Does that make sense to you? Me. Yes. This part right here, the short version, everything he has, he got it out the mud. He's worked really hard for the life he has and is happy with his life as is. He's close to hitting his goal. But when a woman is goal-oriented, she gets a ding. She's masculine. But women are out here working hard for their life goals as well. And instead of appreciating the fact that she was a hard worker, she worked her way up to what she has, which she hasn't bragged about. He just feels insecure about it. He knows that she has money. She doesn't talk about it, but that insecurity and that underlying jealousy is still there. She says she lives with her parents. meaning her dad is in her life. And many times these dudes, they act like they can't stand gold diggers and they can't stand women in their fatherless behavior. But when women do have their own money and are not gold diggers and don't need anything, they still don't like it because it's underlying. They really do clamor for the neediness of a woman, because those are the women that are controllable, because you can dangle that carrot. When there's nothing to dangle, when a woman has her own and she can up and leave when the situation isn't meeting what she needs or values in her life, she could leave. They know that. And they can't dangle anything. They have nothing over you. And so this is why you do need to have your own. And this is also why they do the things on the flip side. They try to convince you to quit your job. They try to convince you to move away from your support system. They try to get you pregnant early and anchor you down on purpose. These are all control tactics. Once you know and understand the control tactics, is to get you on the other side of having control and financial independence and the ability to just up and leave when you want to. All that to segue into this Threads post that I was tagged in from Krista Monet. She says, Guy, how do you feel about 50-50? Me, 50-50 on what? Guy, on like bills. Me, I don't feel anything about it. Guy, good, because I wouldn't move any woman in my place who isn't willing to split the rent. Me, are you speaking of women in general moving in with you or me potentially moving in with you? Guy, I'm saying if we were to move in together. Me, don't you live in a 1-bedroom studio style apartment? Guy, yeah, why does that matter? And she says, me, why would I want to leave my 4-bedroom home to come split rent in a place where we'll literally be sitting on top of each other? You don't even have the room to share space in your place with a pet, let alone a grown woman, to be talking about splitting the rent. You need a little bit more square footage before bringing that conversation to the table, sir. This is the reason why they don't like financially stable women, because financially stable women are looking around like, why would I change where I am to go backwards? And that whole conversation about 50-50 split is like, okay, cool. We're talking about 50-50, but I'm not changing where I am. So are you going to be able to come up to where I am? Because I'm not going backwards, because that would be a downgrade. But also that whole 50-50 split, sometimes they talk about that. Sometimes they talk like they're providers, but all the time they want 50-50, but they don't want 50-50 as far as the roles within the home. It's always just 50-50 financially, whereas women have been talking about this whole 50-50 within the home, chores, parenting, and all of that. So the conversations need to change. These conversations will humble a dude, and maybe not even humble. It's going to embarrass some people. The women out here are just out here just checking off things, getting the education, getting the career focus, getting their homes, because more women are buying homes and everything. And so we're just doing things quietly, but the men don't like it and want to cast aspersions on women that are out here accomplishing things. But the men are loud about it. When they get their little bit of money, they are loud about it. And women are just like, okay. I mean, yes, you're telling me what you make, but I'm making that too. So, okay, cool. This is where we are. We're equals. So since we're equals, that means that you're going to do the equal work as well, right? They don't want to hear that part. Where Will We Go says, perfect response, no notes. This is a comment that was on Demetria's Facebook post. Trey Boogie says, this type of low self-esteem typically comes across as a humbling spirit. These types of men typically find other ways to chop you down to size when they see you're not impressed by their income. That's why I don't date outside of my income range anymore. There are men who cannot handle it, and I will not shrink myself because they come up short. Also, instead of your floor being his ceiling, why wouldn't he use that as motivation to propel himself higher? Let him be self-limiting on his own. I just wanted y'all to see that part. Let him be self-limiting on his own, and then just quietly keep trucking away that little engine that could. Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this put together. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Boyfriend lied about having a vasectomy. This was posted in the child-free subreddit. Boyfriend lied about having a vasectomy. That's egregious. Boyfriend lied is typically enough to say, you know what, I'm not willing to put up with this. But boyfriend lied about vasectomy means that this could have impact on your financial future if you wanted to be child free. This could really impact your finances. It can impact your physical health. It could impact your mental health. This is a breakup immediately type of thing based on this title alone. But let's look at the post. The boyfriend is 28. This is a 25-year-old woman. She says, when my boyfriend and I first met, I told him I have zero burning desire to be a bio mom, but I have no issues with being a bonus mom. He has 2 small children. They live with their mom that are absolutely amazing and adorable. From the beginning, I told him that I am child-free by choice 100% if unmarried, but I'm open to the possibility of having 1 child if I felt secure, supported, and truly safe, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally within my marriage. He told me that that was fine because he actually got a vasectomy and prefers to not have another child until or unless he's married. But if we got married and I still chose to not have any children, he was fine with that. So let's fast forward about 5 months into the relationship, and he jokingly makes a comment saying he thinks that my lady bits are broken because I still haven't gotten pregnant. I was so confused and replied, well, you got a vasectomy, so why would I get pregnant? Then he asked if I'm secretly on birth control. Again, in my head, I'm like, why would I need birth control? So I respond with saying no, I haven't been on it in years. Him, well, maybe your coochie is broken because why haven't you gotten pregnant? Me, maybe it's God's intervention and he doesn't want us getting pregnant. We're not even married. The convo drops after this, and I just side-eye and move on with my day. Now, here we are on month 8, and I'm now finding out he lied about the vasectomy. He first confessed and said his doctor said he has low sperm count, so he wasn't sure if he could have more kids. So, like, WTF was you doing? Testing it out with me, hoping to get me pregnant. Then he confesses again and says there's nothing wrong with his sperm count, and he lied about getting a vasectomy because he didn't want to scare me if I knew he was intentionally trying to get me pregnant the whole time. When I say my mind was blown because, excuse me, come again, what do you mean? And what's more insane is how it makes sense why he looked disappointed when I got my period each month and a little excited the one time my period was late. Ugh, how did I miss the signs? So yeah, now I just can't trust anything he says or his motives. It was so selfish to intentionally try getting me pregnant, knowing I don't want any kids, especially if I'm not married, and knowing I'm pro-choice and already said I'd terminate if need be. And his response would be, we're too grown for terminations. We can afford a baby. If you got pregnant, I'd marry you. That's not even a second thought. This is just a lot. Now I feel like I'm setting myself up for more lies and manipulations in the future. The man I once thought was my perfect match is now a man I feel has actually been trying to trap and gaslight me. I am so irritated for this woman. Extremely irritated for her. This is like this is the ultimate betrayal. Why is the word sociopath or is it a psychopath? But this type of lie is so egregious. I don't even know what I would do if I heard all of this information at one time. And like lying about this type of thing is stealthing. I don't know if it's stealthing. Y'all are going to have to weigh in. But she thought she was consenting to relations based on the vasectomy. She did not know that this was lying. So there was not proper consent in this situation. And in situations where there's no actual consent, what is that word? It rhymes with grape. In the comment section, they are giving her an education between child-free and childless. That's the reason for this edit saying, I understand now that childless is more the appropriate term or label for me. This is my first relationship dating a man with kids. Prior to this, I was very adamant about no kids and didn't date men with children. But it seems like every man now has a child as we get older. So I told myself, maybe I'm limiting myself and shouldn't dismiss the idea of dating a man with a child, since I thought I wouldn't be opposed to being a step or a bonus mom. I didn't know that dating someone with children now makes me childless, not child-free, so thanks for the extra clarification. Also, I am leaving this relationship once I can get my finances back in order. By no means am I foolishly going to stay in this relationship. Lord only knows what other lies I don't know about. I am taking all of your comments and advice seriously, so thank you all so much. This is so egregious, and I'm glad that there is a community. This is the child-free subreddit. I'm glad that there is a community for women to talk about these things. And I know that I'm not sure how people feel about the distinction between child-free and childless, if it's that pressing. But it is important to know that there are clarifications and distinctions. And sometimes childless can mean they simply cannot have children, but they actually wanted children. Child-free women are adamantly, nope, I do not want kids. I don't want kids at all, ever. I don't want to date a man with kids. Child-free women are like, absolutely no, get someone else to do it. Childless women might have wanted children in the past. Things happen. So there are some differences that do need to be clarified. Let's look at some of the comments. Almighty Queen says, I think you mean ex-boyfriend. This is horrendous. Nothing can excuse this level of lie. Even Saltier Piglet says, this is a form of sexualizing assault in some countries. Consenting to sex is not the same as consenting to unprotected sex. That's what I was saying above. I just didn't have all of the words at that particular time. This person says, came here to say this. Pretty sure in many states that this would be considered rape. But the thing is, I don't know if people would actually take the time to prosecute this. They don't give a damn about women in this situation. They barely care about rape victims that are not consenting. This woman consented under certain circumstances. I don't think that anyone would give a damn about the fact that he lied about a vasectomy. Marshmallow Bunny says, yeah, the title should read, my ex-boyfriend lied about life-changing information and I dropped him like the lying bastard he is. Auntie says, my prescription boyfriend. Disobedient Switch says, that sounds like another term for conversion therapy. This person says, yes, this is SA. Just came out and said that this is SA. And that's what Future Purple says. Isn't this SA? Aside from emotional abuse, the old pug says it is reproductive coercion. I couldn't grab that term. I know that term, but I couldn't grab it in the moment as I read it. So I'm glad that it was in the comments. No Record says it's straight up grape. He deserves to rot. And that's the thing. That's the reason why I will keep on saying that these people need to be lonelier. If it comes out that you are dating a liar, you need to not be dating the liar anymore. You need to drop them like a bad habit. They don't deserve your time, energy, resources, support, anything. Drop liars because your life can be impacted. And if he lies about one thing, what's to say he won't lie about something else? Leave liars alone. Make them lonelier. Make this male loneliness epidemic a pandemic. Join the conversation. Talk to your daughters about this type of stuff. Let's keep talking and raising awareness about coercion, rape, SA, lying about vasectomies, lying about not wanting any more children. These people are liars and deserve to be even lonelier. Let's keep talking. This one is a doozy. I can tell you that this one is a hobosexual, a liar, can't make his own appointments. This one has a little bit of it all, and she's wondering, am I overreacting for wanting to end my marriage? I'm wanting to end her marriage for her. Like I'm ready to divorce her husband. She's 39. Her husband is 45. Keep that number in your back pocket, because if I wouldn't have told you his age, me describing it sounds like a shiftless teenager that smokes too much pot. That's what it's Okay, listen to this. All right, so she says, me and my husband have been together for 12 years, married for 10, no children in common. My husband has been lying to me and making excuses about going to get GED classes for the entirety of our marriage. He was finally scheduled to take the second half of the exam, then told me the day before that the community center called and said they are suddenly closed and canceling all exams. This is roughly the 10th time I've been fed this excuse. I called them myself and was advised that no, the exams are not canceled. My husband is on the list to take the exam and they have not closed all summer. So he's a liar that does not have his GED. So 2 strikes. I have also requested, and he's 45. Remember, I said 45, put it in your pocket. I have also requested several times that he learn to drive, as we live in an area that really requires a vehicle to get around. He finally got his learner's permit 10 months ago. He has driven precisely once for all of 3 minutes and has never requested to go to practice. So no GED, no driver's license, and is a liar. That's 3 strikes. Okay, let's go ahead and end this. But that's not enough. I confronted him with this information just for him to start screaming at me when he could no longer convince me of his lie, which he continued to claim for several minutes after being told I know he's lying. Once he was done screaming at me, he then blamed me for not helping him study and not setting up the time for him to go practice driving. Completely denied any responsibility for his own actions. He also stated he does not want to drive and it really scares him, so I doubt he will actually ever drive. Completely denied any responsibility for his own actions. So, Darvo in action. Reverse victim and offender. He also denied everything and started attacking. Actually, this is all Darvo in action. Deny, so he was basically lying. Attack, that was the screaming. And then reverse victim offender. This is your fault that I'm not doing something. This whole paragraph is Darvo. Whew. I recently had several medical appointments that required a person to transport me. Each time I have to ask my dad because my husband simply won't learn to drive. So he's also useless in the relationship and can't properly support her. Okay. Here's what really gets me. I don't know how to do high school level math at all. I picked a college major and degree program that didn't involve math for a reason. He says he's embarrassed to ask for help because he feels stupid compared to me, but admits he knows I also can't figure out algebraic equations. So, gaslighting? He doesn't even take the initiative to make a doctor's appointment. Then he lies to me about it like I can't see his phone logs. I eventually made him a doctor's appointment when I dragged him along and he had to wait for me in the lobby, sent him over to the new registration window to get him set up as a new patient. His previous statements were they aren't accepting new patients and when they do, they'll call him back. This is my doctor's office. I know how they run the place, and that isn't it. Just so many little lies all the damn time. I'm tired of the lies, the lack of motivation, the gaslighting, regulating his emotions, and handling the budgeting, errands, appointments, and rental property on my own. I'm just effing tired. Am I overreacting if I proceed with the divorce at this point? It's been over a decade of waiting for him to just take the initiative to be an equal partner. Girl, I am tired for you. I'm tired just because of reading that post. And you've taken this on. You've taken this man on for more than a decade. And I just want to know why. Why are you doing this? That's what Dan's difference says. Forget him. What's wrong with you? And she says clearly a lot, mostly low self-esteem and lack of confidence. So she knows that she has an issue, low self-esteem and lack of confidence. I really hope that she works through this because she's admitting the problem. That's half the battle. Now it's going to be like getting unraveled from this because this is a mess. And then Dan's difference says, I'm not trying to be mean, but this guy is a loser and you are wasting your time with him. And then Fearless Actuality says, hey, therapy has helped me a lot with that. Just FYI, it's taking years though. So Automatic Catch says, sounds like you could both use some therapy. You both lack communication skills, and he probably has ADHD and anxiety. I hate when people give men a diagnosis of ADHD or just diagnose them with something, because it's like they kind of want to give them an excuse for their lazy behavior. And it's irritating because women don't get that same type of rationalization or excuse making. But here's the OP saying, I've been in therapy for years and I have my mental health and disorders in good standing. But if your mental health issues were in good standing, why do you have low self-esteem and low confidence? I need her to do an extra day or an extra 20 minutes journaling or something. Realistic Country says, you got with a guy who was 33 and didn't have a high school diploma, GED, or a driver's license. Then you married him. Now, 12 years later, it's finally got to this point. It's not like you got together at 16 and he stayed like this. You married him at 35, not feeling sympathy for you at all. And she says, don't want sympathy. I made my own choices in this. He made his. I wasn't asking for sympathy. I'm asking if it's overreacting to divorce at this point. It is not overreacting to divorce at this point. Then Realistic Country says, why don't you get him therapy and find out what's going on? What scares him so much about doing this stuff? There's got to be something that's going on mentally or emotionally. If you divorce, you still have no one to drive you to doctor's appointments. Also, contrary to this sub-belief, marriage is through sickness and health, which is what it sounds like he is. So he's saying he's sick. Like I said, I don't like all these diagnoses in Reddit. OP says he started therapy, then stopped going. Then he lied to me about continuing to go to therapy for 3 months. And then she says, I carry our health insurance. I can see the claims the claims in all procedures in our dashboard. And then this person thinks that she's lying some kind of way. How is he going to therapy without you driving him? How does he get to work without you driving him? I'm confused on this. Why wouldn't you just take him to therapy? You'd know if he was going. She says, we used a telehealth mental health provider sponsored by our insurance company. He spends money on Uber to get to work or takes the bus, which takes about 2 hours to get to and from work. And then this person's like, he's clearly sick. You know he lies about it. It seems like you need to get more involved if you truly love him. Driving him doesn't solve much. So she needs to parent her husband. Is basically what I'm hearing this person say. He just trying to encourage this to just stick and stay. Anyways, I'm going to end that there because this was already a lot. It was a lot. But join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
Ladies, I'm back. I'm putting down the poison fruit and giving my gay life the boot. Ready to find the woman of my dreams who's looking for a man with means. I'm walking on the righteous path again and will only see a man as a friend. I need a God-fearing woman who's good at obeying and who can keep my eyes from straying. I still may be a little fruity, but rest assured, I'm looking for womanly beauty. Yes, I may have a feminine stride, but it is my ultimate goal to provide. Hoping to soon find my damsel in distress and put my unholy life to rest. If you need a husband and a man that is true, well, baby, you know just what to do. I need all the single women to come to the front of the line because it's time that I claimed mine.